games aren't what they used to be. Now, when somebody says that, it leads to the question of, what do you mean when you say games aren't what they used to be? And my answer to that question is, games now don't leave you with that awe feeling that they once used to. I recently just started playing some PS2 games again, and I actually picked up the game Shadow of the Colossus and was highly amazed at the performance and how great the gameplay actually was in comparison to many games that we have out today. Not saying that a lot of the games we have out today are bad, it's just, it really amazes me when you go back and you look at some of the older consoles and you see that those games had a more richer story element and even a better gameplay element to all their games. Now, this might be just because it's Shadow of the Colossus, but I do remember playing Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal and the other Ratchet and Clanks. I remember their stories and their characters and everything about those games, their platforming, just felt so unique and great, and it was a funny and fun experience to be playing those games. Now, when you look at games today, those type of platforming games are like completely gone, and you will never find a game like Shadow of the Colossus out on your PS4 or out on your PS4 or out on your Xbox One. Now, there is the remake on PS4, or it's not a remake, it's like the second in the series, but it's more of a platforming game rather than a let's go kill all these giant bosses because it's fun. That's basically what it comes down to, is the gameplay is fun. The story is a huge mystery. Why are you there? What are you doing? Something that a lot of games lack these days with their linear progression and oversaturated open worlds that'll just leave you lost in them. It's not saying that that's a terrible thing, but when you get sidetracked too much from a side quest, you tend to forget, or it kind of waters down the importance of the story, at least in my opinion. Now, I know there's going to be a lot of people out there that are like, but I love my Skyrim and my Witcher 3. Trust me, man, I do too. It's just when I play those games, I know that those side quests and everything are more of a just extra to the game. And those are the things I would wish to complete after I complete the main story, as that's what I'm more invested in rather than trying to find someone's pan that's been robbed or something along those lines. Now, I would love to come back and do those side quests after I've done the main quest. That way it gives me more of like a role-playing feel, like, oh, I've saved the world, now it's time to help out the community or something. But maybe that's just me. Although I do hate it when there are so many side quests, especially at the start, and you're getting really invested in your story, and then all these side quests just kind of pop up, and it becomes really stressful and just too much to kind of try to balance out and try to work with and try to manage all your side quests and which ones you should complete first versus your story, because you know if you complete your story that there's going to be more side quests that pop up, or if you do your side quests you're going to forget a little bit about the story. That's just my personal pet peeve when it comes to these things, when it comes to these open world games. And that's what I really loved about Shadow of the Colossus, was that it just kind of threw you in an open world, and the whole thing was just story driven. It just told you to follow the light from your sword, and then you'll find these amazing creatures, but for some reason you just kill them. There's really no reason, unless you got a little hint from the start of the game where you're carrying this girl to an altar. And this isn't really much of a spoiler considering it happens immediately when you start the game. You carry this random girl to the altar, and then you speak to like a god or something in a temple telling you to just kill these things so you could possibly have a chance of getting her soul. and it really just leaves the mystery as who is this guy? Is he a god? Is he the keeper of the temple you're in? Why are you just blindly following his orders? How did the girl? It leaves you all these questions that you really want to invest the time to figure them out, and it gives you a really fun gameplay experience for you to just experiment with a lot of different ideas that you have about going about killing these monsters, or just overall your exploration of the world, be it may be high and dry when it comes to how many things are in it, but you don't get caught up in all the little small details that developers try to put in just to keep you there that extra hour. And that's another thing I kind of have against open world games. Another little critique I have against them is that a lot of these open worlds, they just kind of have filler moments so they can say that their game is like about 200 hours long, and it's really sad to see them go that route. They'll have like extra long dialogue or just a lot of filler moments that are just filled with nonsense and don't contribute to the overall story or lore of the game in any way or fashion. Overall, though, we do wish our games to be fun, and I feel like back in the day when you were playing your PS2 and your GameCube, and you're playing games like Shadow of the Colossus and Animal Crossings, two 100% completely different games. One is more like a daily life simulator, while the other is a kill god mode type simulator, I guess. But it really just shows how different games can really be and how great they can still be based on their differences, and how well they can stand out amongst the crowd. Now, I know I've been really kind of drifting off here at the end, but in conclusion, I want to tell you guys that games today aren't what they used to be. Maybe you'll find that to be a more better thing as technologies advance. We're getting more into the future. We care more about mechanics over story elements or reason within our games. I don't really know what most people prefer these days. In my personal opinion, though, I do care solely about a story, but with interesting gameplay to keep me hooked to continue with the story, so I'm not left bored to death as I am with a lot of the Final Fantasy games. Though I love their stories to death and they seem so cool and amazing to experience, I really can't get into any of them because I just dread all the gameplay, whether it be a turn-based combat game or one of the kind of real action-y combo like games like Final Fantasy 13. That was kind of a terrible explanation of how the combat is, but it's really true of how bad I truly feel the combat is, and I just cannot stand it, and that is one of the main reasons why till this day I haven't beaten or gotten through a total Final Fantasy game. I'm hoping when Final Fantasy 15 comes out for PC that I can finally beat a Final Fantasy game and say that I love Final Fantasy, because I feel like that is a box I still need to check off of my list. Now, as always, I hope you guys liked the video as much as I did making it, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.